Jamie Krog. I'm the Chief of Police of the Myrtle Beach Police Department, and I am so excited to be here today on this beautiful Saturday morning to welcome our Myrtle Beach community and those not from Myrtle Beach to our recruiting event for our partners here with the FBI and with Myrtle Beach to talk about what we do here in law enforcement and to recruit more team members for both of our agencies. This is a great opportunity for our team members to tell about what our agencies do and also to become either a Myrtle Beach Police Department team member or FBI team member. It's really exciting. It's giving us an opportunity for you to learn about what we do. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our FBI facilitator and also for just to welcome you to be here today. So thank you so much for coming and learning about this, both online and here at the Myrtle Beach Police Department Annex here at Market Common. Thank you for coming.
All right, good morning, everyone. I am Kevin Wheeler, the Public Affairs Specialist for the FBI Columbia Field Office. Thank you all for being here, and thanks to everyone who has joined us online. We hope this will be a great opportunity for you to learn more about our agencies and more about the people who serve in those agencies. And we want to give you the opportunity to ask some questions as well. We're going to start off the first hour or so with some questions that we have already for the team here. And then we're going to give the audience an opportunity. We're also monitoring the questions online, so if you have something, please feel free to ask the panelists here. I'm going to introduce our panelists first. We have a member who just joined us here, but I'm going to write down and read who we have so far. Special Agent Alex Monahan here. She joined the FBI as a special agent in 2019. As an agent, she investigates crimes related to public corruption and civil rights across South Carolina. Additionally, she is team leader for the evidence response team. Special Agent Monahan provides education and training to local law enforcement and the community on topics such as civil rights, color of law violations, and hate crimes. Prior to joining the FBI, Agent Monahan worked in human services and grant management. Next to Agent Monahan, we have Special Agent Carl Cuneo. Special Agent Cuneo graduated from the FBI Academy in May of 2000. His first field office assignment was the Tampa field office. He transferred to the FBI headquarters in 2007, where he worked as a program manager in the Criminal Investigations Division. His next assignment was in the Jackson field office, where he worked in the Oxford Resident Agency from 2009 to 2011. Special Agent Cuneo transferred to the Columbia field office in 2011 and has been here ever since. He served as the Special Agent Bomb Tech Lead from 2011 to 2021, and he has been assigned as the applicant coordinator and recruiter since that time. Next, we have Sergeant Angel Walker with the Myrtle Beach Police Department. She will be celebrating her 24th anniversary with the Myrtle Beach Police Department at the end of this month. She is currently the sergeant supervising the night shift patrol. Before her promotion to sergeant, she was a detective in the department's violent crimes unit. She was also a task force officer for the ATF. Sergeant Walker attended Morris College in Sumter, South Carolina, and she also attended Ashworth University. Sergeant Walker is originally from Miami, Florida, and has a 2-year-old daughter. Next, we have Police Officer Alex Schaefer, who has been with the Myrtle Beach Police Department for 7 years. He is currently assigned to the department's crime scene unit. Officer Schaefer received his associate's degree in criminal justice and public administration from Broward College in Dayton, Florida. Officer Schaefer is originally from Miami, Florida. He is soon to be married. All right. And then finally, we have Officer Christine Flannery, who has been with the Myrtle Beach Police Department for 4 years. She's currently assigned to the night shift waterfront unit, the bike team, and the hostage negotiations team. Officer Flannery has a bachelor's of science degree in education from Hofstra University. She is originally from New York, but has also lived in Texas before she made her move here to South Carolina. And then finally, I'll give our latest panelists here an opportunity to introduce yourself and tell us a little about yourself as well.
Sure, Lieutenant Paul Myrtle in our admin division. Oversee our hiring and recruiting for the Myrtle Beach Police Department. I've been with our department for 16 years now.
Very good. So again, we've got some questions that we're going to ask from the panel here, and then we'll give the audience the opportunity to ask questions as well. We'll ask all of this for you all. First of all, what motivated you to join the law enforcement profession, and how has your experience been thus far? What keeps you going in this profession?
What drew me to was the lack of monotony from day to day. It's not a standard. Some can be a Monday to Friday job, but it's not a standard job. Opportunity to meet people from all walks of life, all different communities, especially here in Myrtle Beach. People come and visit. Get to meet people from all over the United States and foreign countries. No 2 days are the same.
Yeah, similarly, I was looking for something more challenging, but something that I could still use my skills in, coming from like a social work type of world. So I was looking for something that I thought I could do more long term and find something that was different every day and challenging, and it has proven to be that.
Yes, I served in the military for 5 years after I graduated college, and I wanted to continue to serve. And I knew I wanted to be in law enforcement, either in policing or federal service. And the FBI gave me the opportunity to continue to serve my country and support and defend the Constitution. And I'm very lucky to work for the FBI and happy to be here.
I have a caring heart, so I want to help those who cannot help themselves. Joining this police department has helped me broaden the ways that I interacted with the public. I just wanted to be there for those who can't be there for themselves.
I started my interest in police work started when I was 9 years old, when I met our school resource officer. Had a huge impact on my life. And from then I knew I wanted to be involved in public service and continue to path my life towards this career path.
So I started as a middle school teacher in inner city Houston, Texas, where I dealt with a lot of students who were going home to horrible situations. And I did not like the fact that as a teacher, there was not a whole lot I could do to help them other than just report it on to someone else. So I decided after 5 years of teaching that I wanted to take the next step to be able to actually help those kids or anyone who needed it. And so I started my career in law enforcement and have been very fulfilled in the fact that now I am able to actually help those people.
Okay, thank you. And so we have various ranges of experience on our panel here today. Starting with all of you, what is the most important thing that people should know before entering law enforcement, in the law enforcement industry as a career?
That you're going to be dealing with people at their worst. People generally do not call us if they're having a happy event at home. They generally call us when they're in crisis. So you're not going to see people at their best, and it's incumbent upon you to help them work through their crisis, whatever it may be.
I would say that in the Bureau, you're going to be challenged. You're going to have high expectations set before you, and you are going to have a lot of independence to do your job. And for somebody coming into the FBI, especially in the special agent position, I think it's extremely important that that person be able to work independently with limited supervision in investigating challenging cases and in challenging circumstances.
So,
You have to have it within you in order to do this job. It's a very committed job. You just can't just do it by a whim. You know, you have to have the dedication, the loyalty, the commitment in order to do this job. It is not an easy job. It's hard, you know. But the glorification, the satisfaction of this job is to make sure that everyone is safe. You give a service to your community, and that's the satisfaction and the glorification of this job. It is a very serious job, so I would make sure that everyone think before you apply. It is a very serious, dedicated job.
Being detail oriented and being involved in very profound investigations. I think being very good with your detailed report writing is really important. It's really critical to have all the details that we need conducting investigations. So this is not something you can simply write summaries about. We need detailed information, which is really important to succeed in this career.
As stated already before me, this career is something that is very serious, and it takes an understanding of multiple situations to really be able to help in the way that we are supposed to. So I think there is a level of maturity that is needed before you can just enter this career. You know, being a young 21-year-old and entering into the field of law enforcement may face a lot of challenges because you are just not used to what the world has to offer, and you're being thrown into a lot of very serious situations. So I think it is very helpful to have some life experience before you, so that way you can actually make an impact and understand the severity of the situations and what you are doing and how you're applying your skills to these calls and situations that you're handling every single day.
So law enforcement work often involves long hours and regular schedules. How do you all maintain a healthy work-life balance to ensure that you are dedicated and focused on your role? And how do you also manage your stress and maintain your well-being?
You have to have an outlet. You need to prioritize what's important at work and prioritize what's important at home. And they both need to find some sort of balance in the middle. How you do that differs from person to person. Some find solace in going to the gym. Some find it with casting a fishing rod. But you need to find something that balances your life out, and that'll differ from person to person. But you need to have that balance and find something for an outlet to relieve everything that you see from day to day.
I agree, and also there's a social aspect to that outlet. I think I found people that I can share some of the things I'm struggling with and be open with that help me process some of the things that I'm experiencing at work that aren't necessarily pretty or fun to experience. So finding people that you can talk to and trust that can lift you up and really have your back in hard times.
I think it's important to know that in the FBI, we value work-life balance. I think many of the people who work in the FBI are family people. They have children, they are married, they want to start families. And so in the FBI, we work very hard as an agency to ensure our employees have the proper work-life balance, and I think it's essential. And as far as management of stress in the FBI, I mean, like my colleagues have said, working out, staying healthy, finding comfort in social circles with your similar struggles is all very important in the FBI.
As a nighttime sergeant, I work 12 hours a night during my shift. It is very important to prioritize your time, especially your family time. You have to remember before you were a police officer some of the fun things you used to do. You have to be able to go back to those things to balance out your life. But you have to remember this is your career, this is your life, especially your family time is very important with your loved ones. So you have to get a good understanding of this career and what's very meaningful for both you and your family.
I think police work is all about dedication, and you have to dedicate just as much quality time you do to your work to your personal life. I think it's really critical not to put your family aside, but have them work with you, have them understand what you're going through, and at the same time dedicate time to solely them. It would be critical.
Absolutely, I think it's very important. When you're at work, you're at work. When you're home, you're home. You're not an officer at home, you are you at home. And I think it's important to make that separation so you don't just get wrapped up in this career and you have nothing else to go back on.
Let's talk about the most rewarding aspect of being in law enforcement. Going down the line, please tell us some examples of what you consider rewarding and what keeps you doing this job every day.
I'm going to go back to my days as a detective, seeking justice for someone that's not able to stand up for themselves. That was a very rewarding experience. Without going into case specifics, whether it's an elderly person or a young child, someone that's not able to stand up for themselves, giving justice for them, being a voice for them, and being an advocate for them to get justice for what's hurt to them.
Yeah, you have a chance to be the voice for the voiceless, and to stand up for people who are vulnerable and aren't necessarily able to do that themselves. And it's very rewarding at the end of a case when you've truly seen justice be served and been able to bring closure for victims. It's extremely rewarding.
Well, for me, I've been in almost 25 years. Yikes. But, I've had the opportunity to work in 4 different divisions, and I've worked criminal cases, and I've gone to trial, and we've had guilty verdicts in terrorism cases, and there's been all of that stuff. But what I find most rewarding right now as a recruiter is kind of what's going on right here at this table, working with all the law enforcement partners as a team, together, accomplishing the mission. I get to go to career fairs at military bases and colleges and other events, and people want to talk to me, people want to join the FBI, and I'm the benefactor of that goodwill because of all the hard work that's come from agents like Alex and then also our law enforcement partners. So just the community, right now, in the moment, the community of law enforcement that I'm a part of is very special at this point in my career.
I think one of the most rewarding things that for this job is the fact that I am a supervisor and I get to motivate other officers to stay in this career, to motivate them every day. Just being out in the community and sharing a whole lot of wealth and knowledge and to educate. It is very important. It's very rewarding to educate our community on what we do and how we do and why we do. And for them to understand what we go through our day-to-day lives and for them to say thank you for what you do is very rewarding.
One of the most rewarding aspects of law enforcement, in my experience, is to work as a team. I work in criminal investigations, and we a lot of times sit around table, discuss ideas together, discuss resources together of what else can be done in particular investigations. And it's absolutely rewarding when it comes together, when we have different people bring different ideas, and we all going towards one mission, which is the unwavering pursuit for justice for victims of violent crimes.
It really came full circle for me with my first major crime, where I was able to help a victim who was helpless and in need, and you see justice is sought and followed through, and the way you change that victim's life after the fact. So that for me, a specific call I'm thinking of course, without going into detail, it stays with me, and it is the reason why I do this job.
Now we talked about that, let's go to the opposite end of that. What would you all say is the most challenging part of your jobs on a daily basis?
My experience being inserted into a perfect stranger's problems, whether it's their family or a dispute with a neighbor, you're called to resolve a problem in 5 minutes, which has been, in some cases, stewing for a number of years. And you have to wear a number of different hats and be able to adapt to what kind of situation you were put into and find a resolution to something within minutes of you arriving to assist somebody.
I think the most challenging part can be the amount of evil that you're exposed to. It can really wear on you when you're exposed to bad things and sad situations day after day after day. But that's why those outlets are so important, is to offload some of that and to be reminded that as many bad things as we see, there's so much good in the world as well.
Yes, I would say for my current job right now, so I work in the Federal Bureau of Investigation, and it can be sometimes a bureaucracy. It's a big organization, and it's a government agency, and we work hard to accomplish the mission, but sometimes in a big government agency, things can get caught up, or there's challenges, and so sometimes fighting through that can be a little bit of a challenge. So yes.
Challenges to me is leaving my 2-year-old at home when I go to work at night, but it works out. Day-to-day challenges, I mean, it arises, but it's how you get through those challenging times is what matters. We all have challenges throughout our day-to-day. And those outlets, like you said before, those outlets are very important. We can get through those challenges together. And that's my thought. We can get through those challenges together.
One of the most bigger challenges in law enforcement that I see is trying to help victims who don't see themselves as victims, or potentially that don't want any help, and trying to reach out to them and assisting them as best as possible to get them to try to understand and comprehend that they are in fact victims, and we're trying to prevent them from being hurt later on in whatever situation, and that's one of the biggest challenges.
So as not to repeat what everyone before me has just said, I would say specific challenge for myself, working night shift. I'm on the bike team, on the boulevard in Myrtle Beach, on the strip by the Skywheel, by everything else. That itself is very challenging, riding 17 miles a night. So with that physical aspect comes the mental aspect of it. You have to be persistent in what you are doing. You have to be dedicated to what you are doing. Yes, it hurts. Yes, sometimes it's going to rain on you. Yes, sometimes it's going to be 100 degrees. You're outside with that silly looking helmet on, but you have a mission and you have to do your job, so you got to get through it.
The role of law enforcement in ensuring public safety sometimes we met with criticism and skepticism, and sometimes rightfully so. So how do you all handle criticism and maintain a positive outlook on your duties as a law enforcement?
Personally, I try to approach everything with an open mind and keep everyone's, their opinion and their outlook on law enforcement as just that, as their opinion, and their opinion matters. Just kind of keep an open mind, see where their perspective is, where they're coming from, and I've always tried to work towards some middle ground. You are going to meet people in this profession that aren't going to agree with you. But I've always tried to work towards the middle ground to where there's some sort of compromise between the different opinions.
Obviously, the FBI gets in the news a lot for not great things lately, and it can be really discouraging. But I try to just shut off the noise and remember that what I'm doing is protecting the American people and upholding the Constitution, and all that noise is just noise. I have a mission to do, and I know that what I'm doing is right, and I just try to keep the main thing the main thing.
Alex just totally stole my answer. Because I was going to talk about the mission of the FBI, protecting the American people and upholding the Constitution. And I don't, when you're an FBI agent, you have your assignment, you have your investigations, and you work your program, and you focus on the mission. And I myself do not let myself get distracted by noise and what typically is in the media, and I stay focused on the mission, which right now is recruiting great people into the FBI and working with our law enforcement partners, like our friends programs here at Myrtle Beach PD. So focusing on that allows me to get through the challenges.
We all are public figures, and what comes with that is everything when it comes to dealing with criticism from the outside. You have to, you want to respond, yes you do, you want to respond, but we are all professionals, and we know what the mission is, and we have to not pay that any attention. We know who we are. We know what we come for. We know who we are. We know we're protecting. We're here. We're about the business of our community. We can't fight every fight. We cannot. But the fact that we are professionals in this job, we have to overlook the criticism. We hear it, we see it, but we have a mission. We have a job to do. And sometimes we just have to not pay it any attention, I would say, but trying to come to a common ground, a common understanding is the goal. So, yeah.
Dealing with criticism, a lot of times in law enforcement, I think it's a result of misunderstanding of sometimes someone not understanding why things are done. And I think when you're at a grocery store or you're in line getting food and you talk to someone and they have a question about why police do a certain thing, explaining it to them a lot of times changes their perception on, oh, okay, that makes more sense. Why you guys do X, Y, and Z. What I do encourage a lot of the public to do is to do ride-alongs. That will give them our perspective of why we do the things we do and possibly change some of their opinions.
I would say cooler minds prevail and calmness is mastery. So, of course, we're going to see situations every day where someone is going to be upset and they are going to be at their highest level, and it is our job to maintain a low level, right? To bring every situation down and de-escalate it. People are not going to agree with what you do, but our job is to serve and protect. And sometimes you have to make a really hard decision. But as long as you are fair and consistent, and you do your job to the best of your ability every single day, and you know what you're doing is right, you will prevail in this profession.
Very good. My next question is for Special Agents Cooper and Monahan. I know in the FBI we have a lot of people who come from different careers, may not actually have criminal justice backgrounds. So kind of tell us what advice you have for those individuals who may be considering a career change to law enforcement later on in life.
So I'll start speaking that. So I came from a social work background. I was working in nonprofit management, working with vulnerable populations. I loved what I did. I loved working with people, and law enforcement was not on my radar for many years. And when I made the switch, I was very nervous about, can I do this? Do I have the personality for this? Do I have the skills for this? And the answer is 100 times yes. There are things that I did as a social worker that make me a great agent. The way that I'm able to relate to people, the way that I understand where people are coming from, where I can see a vulnerable person and understand how to help them. Those have all enhanced my career. Those have made my coworkers say, hey, Alex, can you come on this interview with me? Hey, can you come talk to this person for me? Because I've been able to bring over those skills. So I hate that it took me so long to understand that those skills and my personality traits are valuable in this career. So I want to make sure that people understand that that is what makes our workforce so good, is our diverse backgrounds, and we all can bring something a little different. It's not one type of person that makes a great agent.
Yes, excuse me. We do hire from a broad spectrum of professional backgrounds to become FBI agents. Alex has her background in social work. My background is military. We have a large percentage of our applicants to become FBI agents are police officers and sheriff's deputies here in South Carolina, as a matter of fact, which is the territory I work. So we always hire a lot of law enforcement officers to be FBI agents. And then we have military, my background, and then of course we, like everybody here, so we hire CPAs, we hire lawyers, we hire people from business and finance. Just in the past few months, we sent a teacher to the FBI Academy. So the diversity in the professional backgrounds of the workforce is something that's very important to the FBI, and it's a way we sort of manage our hiring process, is having that broad spectrum. And then, as I just noted, I just want to reiterate, we do hire many people from sworn law enforcement into the FBI. And we'll continue to do so. That's why we're happy to be in the Myrtle Beach Police Department.
Anyone else can kind of add to that? Same thing goes for you all as well.
From experience in my current position, I mean, we accept applications from a wide diverse of people. For our detention and communications, we can start hiring as young as 18 years old. For our police, 21 years of age. We have no top age limit. If you could successfully pass our process, we'll welcome you with open arms. We have people that have come to us for second careers after retiring from their current career. A lot of military transition out of the military life and will come and start a second career in law enforcement. So we have Christine's a former school teacher. We have a diverse people in our applicant pool, and we welcome everybody with open arms.
All of you have some specialty team experience that you have mentioned over your careers. And when you're recruiting people, a lot of times you may hear them say, well, with the SWAT team or with the bomb team. Tell us what value being on specialty teams adds to your careers.
Well, there's in the law enforcement profession, there's a need for each of these specific teams. There's a niche for the problems we're presenting. Our Marine unit, are going in the ocean, making ocean rescues for people that are drowning. Our SWAT team is, barricaded subjects, high value targets, things of that nature. So there's a need for each of our specialty units. Our traffic unit is investigating vehicle collisions, sometimes involving death, and you need to have a specific skill set for that. So with each specialty unit, you've got to have a special skill set to successfully complete each mission. And with that, getting to that point comes time. You don't walk in the door being a SWAT operator. You don't walk in the door being able to investigate fatal collisions. It comes with time, putting your work in, learning the skill, and getting your niche. And then as you develop as an officer, you can start to develop the specialty skills, and then be an added, plus to our team.
I think one of the strengths in law enforcement, and specifically with the Bureau, is they will send me to any training that I'm interested in. If you raise your hand, they'll send you. So through that, I've become a drone pilot, which was super random for me. I did crime scene, just random stuff. You're like, yeah, go do that. So you're able to find these little niches that fit your specific skills, and that's where you kind of get to specialize. And it's kind of the fun stuff, is that extra stuff where you are the expert in that realm. So I really enjoy my collateral stuff, but yet in the FBI, you're like, yeah, sure, I'll go be a drone pilot. You're like, all right, go get your license.
I am a special agent bomb tech, and I've been one since June 2002. I also was an FBI diver for 5 years. So I definitely have experience in specialty teams. As an FBI agent, during sort of the busiest, during the time in your career, you're almost expected to maintain some sort of specialty, whether it's bomb technician, evidence response, drone pilot, SWAT operator. Every FBI field office has a SWAT team. So there's a lot of opportunity to become involved in tactical operations in addition to your regular duties as an FBI agent. And also, I think it's worth noting that in the Bureau, all of these specialties have a national level response team, whether you're talking about our hostage rescue team or our national evidence response team. We have divers at FBI headquarters. We have 2 specialized dive recovery teams. So the opportunity to explore different specialties is definitely in the FBI.
I think Paul hit it on the head. I was gonna say what Paul was gonna say, so.
So, specialized units are really important. We have quite a few, as Paul mentioned, in our department. I'm also, have crime scene certifications and drone pilot certifications. But I think it provides a very unique perspective on how to handle investigations, shows you a different way of thinking, and those great opportunities are what Myrtle Beach Police offers.
So I'm on the bike team, I'm a hostage negotiator, I'm also a field training officer. For me personally, hostage negotiations was always the goal. I mean, I get to do what they make movies about, you know, that's cool, that's really cool. But it is also very serious, it's a very serious situation, and you're dealing with people's lives and the lowest point they could possibly be in, and you are there to help them. But the specialty units are what you strive to become. It is what fits your personality, it is what you enjoy doing every single day, but you can't do that without the foundation first. So always make sure, don't corner yourself too early in your career. Make sure you get the foundation, make sure you can be a road officer, and then once you know exactly what you want to do, go for it.
There are a lot of perceptions about law enforcement, true, maybe not. If we could narrow it down, tell us each of you, if you will, some of the perceptions that people may have that just aren't true.
That we're just in it to write tickets and generate revenue for the tickets. The tickets are, you know, a part of one of our parts of our duties. It's enforcement of the laws to correct behavior. Someone's speeding, you issue a summons for it. It's not about revenue, it's to correct behavior. You know, if we remove someone off the street making an arrest, it's to correct their behavior. So there's a lot of stigma that goes to that for, you know, we're just doing this to generate revenue. Now we're correcting the behavior and taking enforcement action when it's warranted.
I think one of the common misperceptions about the FBI is that we're the ones that the locals call if they can't handle it or something like that. But in reality, like, we partner together all the time and we supplement each other, and what we can't do, they can do, and vice versa. So we work very well together, and we really value those partnerships with our local law enforcement, because there's so much that the FBI needs from our locals.
I think one of the main perceptions that I see in my job is people think FBI agents are all certified public accountants and lawyers. And, you know, that, I don't know if that was true like 50, 60 years ago, but it's definitely not true now. And hopefully with the things I've said today, you know, it's clear that we are more than just a bunch of CPAs, which are great, and we want to hire you if you're a CPA out there. You know, please let us know. Or you're a lawyer, we love it. But we hire people from all walks of life. And then also, you know, we have people in the FBI that do everything. We have people work in information technology, administrative specialists. We have public affairs specialists like Kevin up there. We have surveillance specialists, non-agent persons who do all the many jobs that run our organization.
One of the perceptions that I've come across is that women have no business being in law enforcement. Yeah, that's crazy. I've come across that road in my career, that we are not, the public does not expect women to be in law enforcement. The public expects women to be behind the desk, answering phones, being our dispatchers, and when you have strong females, strong women who are in law enforcement, who work the roads, who work at nights with families, with children, it can be done. So please do not think that it can't be done. It can be done. And we've proven them wrong. So yeah, it's great.
One of the misconceptions of law enforcement that I've seen is, and some people think that we can solve every single crime within 2 commercial breaks in an hour. That's not necessarily the case. Sometimes crimes can take days, weeks, months, maybe possibly years, if not decades. So conducting these profound investigations, sometimes it could be months before someone here results in. Sometimes they want somebody in jail right now, but that's not always the case. So I think that's a big misconception, is that someone needs to go to jail right now. Well, we need to get all our ducks in a row first to make sure we get it right and get it right the first time.
I would say we are not just traffic stops and donuts. There's a lot to us. We are mediators, we are counselors, we are educators. There's so much more to what we do than what the public may see, especially us night shifters. You know, we're driving around the streets where nobody else is out on the road, but we are busy. And we are answering the calls that you have no idea that are going on. And then I'm also going to piggyback off of everything that Angel said, that females are strong, and we are meant for this career, and we bring value to this career.
You all have family and loved ones, and we've talked about the sacrifices that you all have done as law enforcement. But tell us what people who are thinking about getting into law enforcement, what their families should know about that sacrifice.
There's many long days or nights. There's you're going to miss holidays, you're going to miss birthdays, special events, and that all comes with being involved in law enforcement. Personally, I've missed birthday parties and holidays, barbecues, but it's all in support of the mission. And what there's a number of questions ago, how to prioritize your job, prioritize your family, and find a balance in the middle. And fortunately for me, my family, I've been able to make that work. But yes, there does come some sacrifice with the job and law.
I come from a little bit of a different situation. My husband's also in law enforcement. We don't have any children. So we both work long hours. We both work weekends and holidays and nights. But that means that we've made our home a safe space where we can relax and wind down, and home is home. Home is not work. And so it's a little advantageous that he's in law enforcement because he's very, very understanding. But that means we put up strict boundaries of what we talk about and what we do at home versus when we're at work.
I mentioned the importance of work-life balance in the FBI. There are times when you work for the FBI, when you're an FBI agent, you are going to have to work many days in a row. I was an FBI agent on September 11th, and I worked probably 3 or 4 months straight after September 11th. And there's going to be periods in your career when things like that happen. But the flexibility of this job allows you to get it back on the back end. And so for families, there's going to be fits and starts of a lot of work. But then I think overall, one of the things I tell people about joining the FBI is that there is such a good work-life balance for a law enforcement agency. And, I honestly, there's been very few times in my career, and this might be a personal thing for me, like where it's very hard for me to prioritize anything over my family, or work. And I work very hard to not do that. And the good thing about the FBI is I think for the most part, you can kind of work that out.
I'm not married, but my boyfriend is also in law enforcement. He also works for the Myrtle Police Department. And now we have a child. It's even more adventurous, I would say. Working this career, you really have to find that balance. And we're on totally opposite shifts. So we make it work. You have to put in the work to make it work. And it works out for us. It maybe didn't for other people, but it actually works for us, so.
So the Myrtle Beach Police Department is very family oriented. Although there's some weekends that may be very long and strenuous hours, our chief has made it a point to make sure that we dedicate our times to our families when we need it as well. So there's times you have to work hard, there's other times you give 110% at home, which is, I think it's a great advantage of working here at Myrtle Beach Police.
Yeah, what's nice about the Myrtle Beach Police Department is we kind of have our schedules made out for us. I mean, there's not a whole lot of surprises. Me personally, I am a very structured and routine individual. My calendar is set out months in advance. That's just how I am. But we get sent a schedule for our summer overtime months in advance. And so I'm able to plan around that. And because of the way I plan and because of the way my family knows I plan, when there is a change in that schedule, it's okay. It's, you know, you don't let it rock us, you just adjust and you move on.
Very good. So when we leave here today, there may be someone, a monitor here, who is just still unsure about departments or joining law enforcement. So each of you, what advice would you have for someone who's just unsure? What do they need to do to make sure they are making the right decision?
Just call and ask. The answer will always be no if you never ask. And we're available to answer any questions you have about the application process, about the job itself, whether it's on phone, via email, or in person. All you have to do is ask.
Yeah, give us a chance to answer questions that you have. Give us a chance to make you more comfortable with the idea of applying. We have great recruiters with our department who can answer any questions and are not going to put on a front just to get you in the job. They're going to be honest about what it entails and help you to find out if this is a good career path for you. But just give us that chance to answer those questions.
Before, if you're out there watching this and you think about a career in law enforcement, I think you should definitely think about a career with the Myrtle Beach Police Department, and then consider also the FBI. I think that an agency like Myrtle Beach Police Department would allow you to get the experience necessary to be competitive in the FBI special agent application process. And to kind of follow up with what Alex said, from the FBI perspective, like, we have a great website. Obviously, there's a lot of information, but certainly recruiters at the FBI offices are available to answer any of your questions if you ever have.
For me, if you guys are unsure, like Paul said, just call. Talk it over, have a serious talk with your family. But you know your maturity level, your growth level. If you're still unsure, we have a ride-along program here at Myrtle Beach Police Department. If you go to our main police department off Oak Street, you'll be able to do a ride-along with one of our officers. Whether it be daytime patrol, waterfront, nighttime patrol, nighttime waterfront. If you really want that one-on-one experience on how we do things here, how we operate here in the city, just do a ride-along program.
I think one of the things individuals that are still unsure that should do should come on down to the police department. Come talk to us. Come talk to a recruiter. Come talk to one of the background investigators. Come talk to us about what your goals are as an individual, what your career goals are, and see if they align with our mission. And maybe you can come work for the Myrtle Beach Police Department.
I would say everyone in this room and everyone watching live, you are already on the right path. We also have what's called the Citizens Police Academy, which the department holds. It's about a 10-week-long program where you come to the police department once a week. I believe it's Monday nights, and they bring a different department in, and they explain to you every single thing that department does: canine, crime scene, negotiations, anything you can imagine. They're going to teach you, and you're going to get a chance to do ride-alongs. I myself started up in the CPA program before I was hired by this department. I had to do 80 hours of ride-alongs while I was in that program, and that's what confirmed that I was doing the right thing. If you're still unsure, the jail is a great entry level into law enforcement. Working in the jail, you're going to get to see people. Nobody's happy about being in the jail, so you're going to get to learn how to communicate with people who are not happy. And that's going to be a great first step to getting you towards the road.
Very good. All right, so my final question, I'm gonna ask you guys to dig back into your memory. Think about that for a second if you need to, but is there a specific point in your career or a moment you realized that this was the ultimate profession? You call for service, case investigation, or citizen encounter that you have had. Obviously, you can't identify anyone or talk about other cases or anything like that, but please, it's open to anyone to share that experience that you have.
I'll start. I work hate crimes. Civil rights is kind of my realm, and there's no hate crime laws in South Carolina, so FBI is the only agency that has jurisdiction with them. And I remember going to a complaint and listening to her story, and she was a victim of a hate crime because of her race. And I was talking to her about what was happening, and she told me no one had ever listened to her before. No one ever believed her that she could be targeted because of her race. And it was so moving for me to be the one to listen to her story and to be the one that could investigate and bring justice to that. So that was a very important day for my career.
So for me, like I said, 25 years. So I'm kind of living in the moment, enjoying every day that I can. And I feel really at home in the recruiting program and as the applicant coordinator, having the opportunity to represent the FBI at career events, having the opportunity to onboard applicants to become FBI agents is kind of furthering the legacy of the FBI for the next 25 years. At this point in my long star-crossed career, it's something that I find a lot of comfort in, and it's been really great. And so it's just reiterated the fact that when I was getting out of the Army, I made the right decision to apply to the FBI. So it's been a great career.
I had mentioned it a little bit earlier, but there was a call, one of my first major calls, that did involve a juvenile, especially given my background, being that I was a teacher, and I moved into this profession because of what my students were going through. Having a juvenile who was a victim of a crime, a very serious crime, and being able to help her, spend hours with her that night, and at the end of the night before I left, she gave me this huge hug. And that was it. That is what I carried with me throughout my career.
One of my experiences, I believe that everybody, public perception that everybody thinks that we're out here to just arrest everybody. And that's the only part of our job that people see. And I would remember that a young lady called the police department and said she was ready to give up her kids because her lights was off. And she wanted me to call the Department of Social Services because she was ready to just give up her kids. And I said, no, we're not doing that. And she couldn't understand why I said no. And I made a few phone calls and got her lights turned back on, and to make sure that she had enough resources, that she was unable to understand how I had those resources. And I explained to her that the police department, not just the police department, but the city of Myrtle Beach as a whole, we have so many resources to help people out there, to educate them on how to deal with everyday life. And I could have taken her kids, but no, there wasn't what I wanted to do. I wanted to educate her on how to use those resources for future things.
So a remarkable moment in my career thus far, to add to what Angel said, that not everybody needs to go to jail. We do so much more than just arresting individuals. Is I've had the great opportunity to be involved in investigations involving missing persons, runaway juveniles, and had successful cases of them bringing them back, from other parts of the country. I speak two languages. I speak English and Spanish, so I have the opportunity to help that community that's predominantly Spanish speaking. So that's one of the most remarkable moments is when we find out really late at night that that juvenile ran away. We got them back and they're safe.
Anyone else, any other story to share? Okay, let's give our panelists a round of applause. We're going to transition into audience questions and questions that we may have online. So if you do have a question, please raise your hand and then direct it to whomever is going to answer the question. Please.
I come from Baltimore City, and I've been here for 3 years now. I'm a retired paralegal, and I worked in the court system, and I saw a lot of ups and downs. When I first got my position, one of the things we were told to do is brush up on our Fourth Amendment rights. Coming here, I don't know a lot of the political and police. I don't have a lot of interaction. I've stopped once for speeding and they gave me a warning, and I didn't speed anymore. I was wondering, the education system for police officers, are they required to learn constitutional rights? Or there's just something that is not pushed upon them to learn? And probable cause of stopping, somebody looks suspicious. I'm coming from the city, so this is a lot of behavior of police officers there. They're looking suspicious, so they want to check their ID for just standing somewhere. Pulling over in a car, want to search the car, or search a passenger in the car instead of concerned with the driver. I was just wondering about Fourth Amendment rights and how it applies down here.
So not only did I attend the FBI Academy, but I teach at the Criminal Justice Academy. There's one Criminal Justice Academy here in South Carolina. So I know for a fact that in the FBI Academy, we go through extensive legal training, up to my eyeballs in legal tests and flashcards before I left. It was a lot. But I also know in the academy here that they emphasize learning the Constitution and what rights people have. And the FBI also goes in and we teach a class on color of law violations to make sure that officers are being educated about protecting people's rights and upholding people's constitutional rights. So yes, they get extensive legal training in the academy, and I don't know about after, they might know about that. I know we have legal training throughout, but yes.
I'm going to piggyback off of what Alex has said. We do have pre-academy training where we cover search and seizure under Fourth Amendment, constitutional rights, reasonable suspicion stops, things that you're talking about. So we cover those aspects before even sending our recruits to the academy, so they have a working knowledge of all the terminology and everything of what they're expected to learn and know going in, so they're not going in green or blindsided on to what they're going to be learning through their legal portion, their legal block training in the academy.
And then we have a very extensive FTO program for when they do get out of the academy. I'm a field training officer myself. And so it is on that field training officer to apply context to the situation. So of course, now you have all your legals, you have your books, you have your background, you have what you studied, but now how are you going to apply it to the real world? And that is what we do.
Questions about recruiting? Everybody online? Okay, great. We'll go ahead and end this session. I believe there's going to be a presentation now. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just need.
Okay, yeah. We'll take a quick break and then there's going to be a presentation about recruiting for budget agencies. Thank you all.